The painting Tahkt-I-Sulayman from 1969 is a quintessential example of Frank Stella's protractor series. This was a series of paintings that he created between 1967 and 1971 using this half-circle protractor motif to structure the pieces. So conservation is one of the most important aspects of museum practice. It is core to the health and longevity of the objects that a museum like MIA holds in public trust. And we own these objects and hold them in perpetuity. So in order to keep these objects on view, to keep them looking great, conservation is something that is constant and required over the lifetime of an object. Thanks to a generous grant from the Bank of America Conservation Project, MIA was able to conserve this iconic painting in partnership with the Midwest Art Conservation Center, also known as MAC.
So the painting was worked on in the galleries because of its size, we were not able to bring it to our lab. We just lay down sheets of plastic to protect the surface and lay the painting face down. So we actually approached treatment in 2 stages. Okay. Our first campaign was to clean the reverse and to clean the surface of the painting. We're cleaning with teeny bitty little cosmetic sponges on the surface and then kind of gain access to the reverse to figure out what needs to be done. So canvas tension is really important to any painting, especially something this large. As I mentioned, it's a really, really thick and heavy canvas, so it tends to slack over time. Being able to adjust that tension is really crucial. We decided that it was very crucial at this point to replace the original strainer of the artist, just because how many previous interventions there were that did not solve the problem of the ripples around the edges. So thankfully, because of this Bank of America grant, we were able to order proper expansion bolt stretcher for the painting. We first released the canvas from the strainer, taking out all of the staples, all of the 646 staples that the artist has put in. We further cleaned the reverse of the canvas and we mended any kind of small tears that we found along the edges. So we put together the custom stretcher, the expansion bolt stretcher. In order to stretch something this large, you have to first tack it onto the stretcher. So if you imagine the painting is laying face down, and we're working really methodically, going from one side to another, starting at the centers of the composition and pulling the canvas very tightly and tacking it in place. So it takes multiple conservators to do that, to kind of adjust the tension. So the entire canvas was tacked, not stapled, but tacked onto the stretcher. We did that 3 times. Each time, as you're tacking it, you're being able to pull the canvas a little more tight, gaining maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. You can afterwards adjust tension with the expansion bolt mechanism, but it's very, very important to get it as tight as possible just with your stretching the first time. We had the art crew from MIA come in and lift the painting several times in order to check the tension, to make sure that we're not over-tensioning it, that it's not slack, just to get it perfect. The 3rd time involved stapling. After the canvas was placed onto the stretcher, we cut custom backing boards, put them in place to protect the reverse from accumulation of dust and debris, and also from possible mechanical damage that can happen during handling. The art crew then installed it on the wall. This was a very large, very challenging treatment, but in a sense, it was rather straightforward. I think just by cleaning the amount of surface that we have in this painting, we got to learn a lot about his technique.
So now that this work has been professionally conserved by MAC, there are actually really noticeable changes. I think number one of which is the vividness of these colors. There was a kind of layer of dirt and grime that happens to paintings over time, and it was really meticulously cleaned by the conservation team. And so as a result now you can see much closer to what the paint colors would have originally looked like, what Frank Stella had originally wanted you to see. And part of that is these almost psychedelic, very vivid colors that at times almost jump off of the canvas. With the work that MAC has done, the conservation on this piece will last for generations to come, and visitors to MIA now in 50, 100 years will be able to see this piece in its kind of vivid glory that the artist intended.